And so we want to get started now, or we're going to wait for just a few?
Whatever you feel like doing. I'm recording it, so if people come in, they can always go back and watch it. So it's
awesome. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And I guess we're going to be doing this every third Thursday for the next few months.
Yeah.
We're bringing next time will be rules and policy with Debbie Way, and I'll talk to you, Michelle, about getting her all hooked up with that as well and getting her on so she can present to you guys next time.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. So welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Perkins. I am Broker Relations Manager for Canopy MLS. I know many of you from classes when we used to do them in person. This is the first time I've been able to get together with you guys as an office. And so we are having to do it, of course, virtually and for the foreseeable future. But hopefully things are going to get better and we'll be able to see you guys live at the board or in your office physically. But we wanted to do some, Michelle had reached out to me to do some training, and I recommended a series for you guys. I know that she wanted to do the policy one first, but Debbie wasn't available in short notice, so we got her scheduled for next month. But I'm going to talk about OneHome today. I'm guessing most of you have actually had some experience or some stories that you could tell about OneHome. So I just want to shed some light and kind of show you and talk about where we are today and what OneHome can do for you and the different opportunities or options that your clients have as well to make sure that that we're not trying to do anything that would change the relationship with your client or take away that relationship or divert it to somewhere else. We're actually trying to bring them closer to you with this OneHome platform. So first thing I want to show you is there's a place where you can begin to promote OneHome without even having engaged with the client yet. So if you have a social media outlet, if you have a newsletter that you send out and you want to start engaging people about the OneHome platform, all you have to do is put the onehome.com link into all your materials. And that will take your clients or your potential clients to a place that talks about OneHome. So this kind of explains everything to them. Unlocks the doors to your dream home. Be the first to know. All the while showing what you can do for them as a realtor and what they can do on their own. So it's a great place to send them to get them excited about OneHome. And then notice at the bottom, and this is the important thing to remember, is that anybody can get to onehome.com, but the only way for somebody to be able to utilize onehome.com and all of its features is to be invited, all the way here at the bottom, by a realtor. So they have to ask you for it. So that's why you're going to push this out. Then hopefully you'll get some requests for that. And then you can begin to engage with them through what we're going to look at today, sending listings, and then communicating with them about listings. And of course, using the tools that are in OneHome around those listings to help them and you focus on the right things and stay connected through the OneHome platform. So notice all the while there is a sign in. So if a client had already been engaged by you and all they had was a onehome.com login, they could easily click on sign in and go into OneHome and begin to use what they're used to using. So hopefully they create a favorite for their OneHome unique page, but there is an opportunity for them to just go to onehome.com, use the credentials that they always use. And in fact, if they do that, it will take them to a place where their credentials have actually been saved from their last session. So it will save it. So all they have to remember is the name onehome.com. And of course, again, if they want to make a favorite of the portal that you create for them uniquely, that can be done as well. But this is an easy way. Now, let's look at a client that would have simply received something from you, their agent. And I think I need to switch I don't know if you guys can see me switching tabs.
No, you're just on the PowerPoint or the.
I'm gonna figure out how to. Let me do this real quick. I gotta figure out how to switch the tab that I'm sharing very easily. I may need to stop. It won't let me share. Let me just stop real quick. It won't let me share the entire browser experience, which I'd like to do here. Let me get back into that. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Oops. Am I still there with you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It just blanked out on me. Here we go. Let's go share. Application window. Yeah, let's be sure one. It only lets me share one at a time, so I'll just have to toggle between. So let me go to look at this a little different. Let's look at how we engage. So I'm going to go back to my my matrix system. So you guys should be familiar with this. So if a client requests to be engaged, so they get your materials, they say, yeah, I'm interested in this one home. I want to look for a home. I want to use the tools. Or when you want to just simply engage with a client that you have worked with and talked to, and you're ready to start sending them updates, here's how you would do that. First, you'd want to set up a contact. So that's pretty simple. You go into your contacts. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I assume everybody understands adding a contact. We do require very little on a contact, first, last, and email address. And notice some instruction on commas between those email addresses if there's several tied to one contact. So you're going to create a contact first. This can't work without a contact. Now, if you already have the contact, you should see them in your contacts list. Once that contact is created, wherever you are in the system, usually searching, I would say, you're going to have access to connect things to that contact. And so let's just go in here to a search real quick. I'm sure everybody does this every day. And we'll put in just a quick little criteria. And we'll do...
Can we back up for a minute for those of us that are new? What is My Home? How is it different from the Triad MLS Matrix?
So OneHome is the client-facing portion of Matrix. So Matrix is all the same for the realtor. That's where we are right now. OneHome is where we're going to share information, and we're going to see when a consumer goes there, they're going to get all the things we're giving them: emails, auto emails, and also our brand that we're going to look at as well.
Okay, thanks.
So this is the client side of Matrix. That's the easy answer. So I'm going to do just a quick little map search here just to shortcut this. So this can be tied to any search functionality that you're aware of in the system. We're going to go to the results set here. If you haven't had a chance to set up an auto email, I would recommend that you go through the process. I'm going to do this pretty quickly. If you want to learn more about auto emails, you can reach out to us individually, take a class on auto emails, and we dig into really the deep settings of that. But in our short session today, I'm going to assume everybody kind of understands the process. And so from here, this listing set, I have two choices. I can either check properties and quickly email them. So I assume everybody's done that before, either to yourself or someone through Matrix. So I've checked 3. I can email those. And this would be one way to engage with a client in OneHome. Very simple. You fill out the email form. You've already got the contact. So you open that up and find them there. Place them in your to line, or CC or BCC if you want to copy other people. Make decisions on whether you want to get copied or not on this email. So if you want to get a copy of this in your inbox, you can get that. And then you're just going to create a subject and a message that's going to entice someone to open up that link to those 3 listings. So that's the first way to engage with a client. Very simply, pick some listings, email them, and they're going to be directed to the OneHome portal automatically when they click to view those 3 listings. Another way to engage would be to take this criteria that found these 32 properties, send these listings, and also set this search up to run ongoing to continue to update them via an email message, letting them know properties have changed in price, or updated in status, or something in the remarks has changed. So for this, we're not going to check listings. We're going to go right to the bottom, and we're going to decide to save the search that found these listings. And so this is how we start an auto email, and then we're going to go right here to the new auto email button on the save menu. Are there any general questions about auto emails? I don't want to get too much in the weeds about that because I want to make sure we look at the portal. and all that it does to communicate? I assume everybody's at least tried to do one or set one up before.
I have a separate training video on that for them too, so
Awesome. Very good.
we should be good.
Okay, so new auto email, and this is the setup that you're used to. Pick the contact, set up your messaging, set up your schedule. Okay, that's probably the most important part here. So when do I want to deliver those updates? We've got the ASAP choice. I do want to touch real quickly on Concierge, because this is usually something that people maybe aren't using or didn't know how to use this or what it was for. If you want to get alerted before the client gets their update, enable the Concierge, and that will turn off the client notification, and then that would require you to go through and decide which listings that made it through that auto email you want to give to them. So it gives you some control there. I think most of you are just letting it ride with an ASAP or a daily frequency. So this is, again, another way, once you click save, to engage this client in the client portal. Now, I've already done this ahead of time. So what I want to do now is I want to switch over. I got to switch my share here again. Give me one sec. So I'm going to go over to a portal that's kind of already been running, and we're going to see how a client can touch those listings and also communicate with you. So let me switch my share. And we're going to share now. I think we're going to go here, and we can switch if we need to. Okay, so before this client signs in, and they're not forced to, let me actually need to get to their email real quick. Okay, and I'm going to share another screen here in just a second. All right, let me get that. All right. So with any of those emails or auto emails that get delivered to that client, they're going to be directed to the content of that email. And so in this case, we're looking at one called Your Property Search. So this is an auto email. And these are the most up-to-date properties, 27 of them that match that auto email. And of course, you're used to those tags that say new listing, price decrease, all those things that your client sees there. And the ability for them to sort those properties by one of the items there in the dropdown. Now, notice that this client is not signed in, and they don't ever have to sign in if they don't want to. Okay, so I want to be clear on that. We do allow them to create a credential for the OneHome portal, but that does not disallow them from looking at properties and look at those auto email updates that you're sending to them ongoing. They are limited into what they can do in the portal with the additional tools, but they are always allowed to look at properties. They're always going to see you in the bottom right. They're going to be able to access you by clicking on your medallion there, and also call or email you right from their preferred device. So you're never more than a click away from assisting them verbally when not signed in. Now, let's look at what they can do, and then we'll talk about what the advantage of taking that extra step into the OneHome sign-in will give them. So if they're here looking at properties, they can easily click on a property, and I assure you, if they're not signed in, the level of detail on properties is the same. So they're not going to get any extra information on properties by signing in. They're just going to get some extra tools. So no matter whether they're signed in or not, they're going to get all the pictures. If this one had a virtual tour, there'd be a link right here below with a virtual tour. They would have access to that. Of course, all the detail from the MLS, consumer facing. We don't give them any confidential detail, but they can open this up. This is really user friendly on a mobile device. This was very much device specific in how it views and its responsiveness. So when you open up these sections on a mobile, it really looks good, which is, I think, is where most people are looking at this information, maybe at first. If they're out, working or not in their office or at home, they're probably opening this up on a mobile device. So all that detail, we do provide public data. Let me scroll down here. We do give them public records data. This is the first time that we've shared realist information with consumers, but we know that we want them to have that, and we don't want them to leave our portal to go to a GIS website and possibly forget about us. So we're going to give them a little bit of the public data coming from realist tax. Okay, if there's any open houses coming up, they'll be listed here. There are none. There's a link to a public health advisory, just a note there. Now, this is where we start to see some things that if your client's used to favoriting or discarding properties, that is going to be behind a sign-in now. So if this client sees this and says, well, yeah, I like this, so I'm going to favorite it, it's going to tell them you have to sign into your account. Or if they've never used OneHome, and this is the first time they've been there, that sign-in will say create account. So either way, they're going to have to either create or sign into that account that they've created. Sorry about that. In order to get access and create favorites and discards. Now they're going to get the mapping. They're going to get all the different mapping boundaries that are available, the points of interest. They're going to have the Google Street View option. They can drag their little guy there on the street and see what's going on around there. They can use their zoom in, of course, and discover more of the map as they move it around. They've got some commute scores at the bottom, nearby schools, price history and tax history. So this would be some from the MLS, some from the tax records, and then some similar homes below that they can click on to see, again, that level of information. Now, back at the top on the right, you'll notice some options here for breakdown of monthly costs. This does not require sign-in, so they can do a quick little calculator there for themselves. They can also view some market insights by clicking the View Insights button. Notice the region that it defines is on the map there. Now, when they want to add a note or request a tour, that will require, again, that sign-in. And so remember, all the things that we're talking about that require sign-in are connections that are made between the consumer and their realtor, and maybe conversations that need to be secure behind a login, which they've never been with our old client portal. So this is really just kind of shoring up that relationship and securing it behind a password so that only the right people can see that communication and affect it as well. So back over here on the Buy Rent tab, this is where all their properties are going to be located. Of course, they can peruse those properties. Notice the little thumbs down and the heart there. Those also are the favorites and rejects, and again, require login, so that's there. And then a client could also, if they like the map better, they can also hover over or click on a property card and access the property detail from that as well. And notice that it does adjust based on your map, the way the listings showed up on the left-hand side, depending on what's visible, and also the sort method that you're using for that. A client can also do some self-research by clicking the new search button. So they can go in and put in some criteria for either purchase or rent, what kind of property they're looking for, a price range. Oops, I gotta hang that in there. Sorry. Gotta apply it. All right, and so what'll happen then is it'll update for them. They'll be able to look at properties, but you'll notice that there is a save search button there. But if they try to save without signing in, again, that's going to be one of those features that they're going to have to create credentials for. So they can search They can look at properties. They just won't be able to hang on to that search criteria and come back to it later. So there are some benefits to them signing in, but I just want to be assure you that the property detail that they're going to see is equivalent whether they're signed in or not. So now let's look at the benefits of signing in. I want to show you one more thing before we do that. So if they don't sign in, they will have to access their portal via a search, via an email that you send to them each time they update. So since they haven't really connected through activity that you're going to send that they're going to send over to you, they're going to get an update email. They're going to link to that search and that search only. Now, when they sign in, so we're going to sign in now to show you. I want this one. We're going to show you what they get if they decide to create an account. Actually, I want to go to the other one. We're going to cancel and we're going to try that again. So they're going to sign in. Use this one. Let's try again. We'll do it over. I'll switch tabs here. Give me one sec. And I'm going to share this screen. So we're going to be signed in here now. Sorry. This one. I believe this is the right one. Okay, very good. Okay, so now this client is logged in. And the first thing that they'll notice when they log in is that the sign in or the create account button has been replaced here in the upper right with a bell that will indicate if there are any new notifications that need to be read. So that would be updates on properties. That would be notes from you through MLS. And we'll look at that and how we do that when we go over to the agent side. We also see here their medallion now with their initials, and they can click on that to get access to some more features, including a profile that they can create or update. And their profile is simply their email address. If they want to put in any additional personal information, they can, but it's not required to have an account for that. Also under their medallion, they're going to see who's in their group or what email addresses are receiving this as well. They're going to see their agent. They're also going to see two options here, one called property fit, one called notification preferences, and of course the sign out. The property fit preference, and it's also accessible from their profile, will allow the consumer to answer some questions about what kind of property they're looking for. Now, this is going to be simple, easy questions that they can easily answer with a little wizard. All they have to do is click Get Started, and that's going to ask them some questions about their preferences. So they're just going through this quick little wizard. They're also going to be asked for some interior and exterior preferences on features. They can select up to 3. And they can also prioritize those. Now, when they go back to properties, after they've completed those property fit preferences, every property that they look at through any search now that you've created for them or listings that you've sent to them, let's refresh this real quick, will include a property fit score. So now you can see on this property here, 46% match, 40% match, and across all searches now, remember this client is logged in, so now they're going to have access to all of their searches and all of their emails that I've sent to them from a quick drop-down list. So if they never sign in, each of these would be accompanied by a separate email. So it just kind of shores everything up, puts everything in one place so that your client can go look at properties that were for that Stonehaven home search or whatever other search you may have set up for them. I've got a sold search running for this client to look for sold properties in a specific area. So you can even do off-market updates for clients as well. Here's one for Mint Hill. I set these up so long ago, they kind of cleaned themselves out, but you get the idea now that they're logged in. All their auto emails are connected to this OneHome portal. They can also, as you can see here, create and save their own searches. So remember before when a client went in and did a new search and added some criteria. We'll zoom in a little close here. Let me zoom out a little bit. When they went to save that search, it told them they couldn't. Now they're able to, because they're logged in and we have a something to connect that to in the system. So we'll just call this my saved search on January, save the search. And that also is now available from their list of search auto searches. Now their additional searches that they've created, they can delete any of those whenever they want. As we scroll down, you'll notice they will also see any listings that you sent to them as individual listing sets. So these wouldn't be automatically sent listings. These would just be simply listings that you picked from a list, check some boxes, and emailed to that client with their subject or the title of that email. And so they could go look at these properties you sent to them via that email there. So they don't have to go dig through their email to find even those listings that you sent to them. There they are right there. This is also, again, a great place to share even non-listed properties. Through the matrix tax search, you're able to share limited information from the public records through the public record data set. So that's a new feature as well for consumers. We're able to share public data, even when it's not listed through the matrix tax search. Now, as we saw before, let me just go through real quickly just to remind you that now this client is logged in. They're able to discard or thumbs down a property. They're able to favorite a property. They're able to add a quick note for this property. There's also a quick note feature that's requesting a tour, which allows the consumer quickly to go in and put in a date and then pick some times that might work for them to see the property. Now that creates a note. It doesn't request a tour through showing time. So don't confuse that with the client being able to now schedule for themselves. That's simply just a quick note. You'll see that it's actually added in the notes section here. And so there's the first note where they just said hello. Where is it? Somewhere there. And then, oh, hey. And then the other one was they want to schedule an appointment. So it's just a note, but a quick way to get that note without them having to type all that information. Now, real quickly, some other things that a client can do now that they are logged in is they can view their favorites. So there's that favorites tab. So those are all the favorites. They can then toggle to the not for me's if they prefer. They can actually remove those. So if they want to take one of those out of not for me or maybe make it a favorite, they can do that. And then the last thing that the client has access to is the planner tool. The planner tool will allow a consumer to kind of see what the process of either buying or selling a home is like. So what are the things I have to consider? What are the things I might have to do? Now, I want to be clear that this is not built off of anyone's specific plan of action. My guess is that you'll find some things in here that you would support. You might find some things in here that you might think differently about. But the idea is to just give consumer a place to kind of look to see what are the things that we have to think about, not just finding that right house and saying I love it and putting my money down. There's a lot of work to be done, and so let's walk them through the process. And so you'll see these different bins here, starting with the get ready bin. Looks like this client's completed all of that process. Then when they move over to the browse properties bin and they decide to skip over to this activity, but if they wanted to look at this one and see what the advice was there, they can look at it, do the things they need to do, and then mark it as complete there, and then continue on with that. And there's all those through the process. And there's also a selling mode as well. So if you're working with a seller, if you want to send activity on closings that are happening in their market, think about them and their planner and what they might want to do when selling their home as well. So don't forget your sellers, and they have a place here as well. I think I want to go back to properties one more time because I wanted to show you one more thing. So if you'll remember now that we have this property fit score, when your clients are looking at properties when they're signed in, they now have the ability to sort by that. So that's a great way for them to push the ones that match best to the top. I want you to be assured that all the properties here in these searches, look at this one, match the criteria that you set up for them. The property fit is simply digging into those properties and saying, okay, which of those properties that match their criteria are the best fit? And so the ability to sort by that is really going to look at the criteria, say, here's the properties, but then also say, here are the ones that are the best of those based on those property fit preferences. And those can be updated whenever the client wants to. So I will pause for just a second. Sorry about the clunkiness of my navigation of Microsoft Teams. I'm going to make that a checklist item to learn that and how to share better than I have. But any questions on the client side before we move over to the agent side? Because you as an agent really need to know how to harness all this activity and look at it and be efficient with it. All right, I'll take that as no questions. All right, so I'm going to share another one. I'm going to close some tabs here before I do that because I don't keep that one open, I think. Give me one sec. Okay, I'm going to go share now Matrix again. So we're going to move back over to the agent side of things. All right, so here we are over in Matrix. And first, I want to point out that if you go to the Home tab, so when you first log in, if you're using OneHome, I'm going to recommend that you move your OneHome visitors widget somewhere where you'll be able to see it. Because that's going to be a real-time, within 5 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes of activity, a real-time activity tracker in the OneHome portal for the last 30 days. So as you can see here, I've got 2 clients that have visited their portal just this morning, one at 9:47, one at 9:50. These were the ones that were open that I was demoing through. And then over to the right, you're also going to see that they have these little icons that identify some actions that they may have completed while they were there. So it looks like Ted was there, but he didn't do anything. So we're going to move on from him. It looks like Erwin did something. So what did he do? Well, he made a favorite. He actually made 2 of them. You can see that there. Pretty easy to tell. And we can click to see what those things are that he favorited. So those are those 2 properties. Now notice that we also know immediately right now, well, the fact that he favorited, we know that he logged in, but we also have access to those property fit scores on the agent side as well. And then notice that these are also properties that they left notes on that are new notes. And so there's an icon that identifies a note, and then the asterisk identifies that there's a new note, and that should be those 2 that we saw them make. Let me open that up. Sorry about that. I'm trying to open these notes here. There we go. That was actually a note from another session. Oh, here it is. Here's the one. There's the hey, and then there's that request. So those are those notes. We were able to see that right there, and I'll show you too on that home page that the notes icon right there identified that there was a note added as well. And notice it identifies it as one, and that means that it was on one property. The two identifies it as two properties. So the notes were left on the same property. So we're letting them know one property had notes on it, but there were the two notes there. Now, if you want to dig in a little further on other things other than just those properties, you can go to the contact. Oh, the little icon here that has the little paper means that they completed either one of two things: property fit preferences, or they completed a step in their planner. So it says one again here. Again, one place to look for it. So they created an activity. We saw them do their property fit preferences. We saw them also complete another step in their planner steps. But you can go into the contact by clicking on their name, or as you do maybe normally, of course, you can go into contacts from your My Matrix. If you go from here, you're going to see a list of contacts, which will give you all your standard trackers like how many favorites, how many possibilities, how many rejects that client has over here for each client you have, how many auto emails you have running, when did they last visit their portal. You can see that here under last OneHome visit. And remember, in the contact list, you can also sort by contact information. So if you want to sort by visit or you want to sort by name, you can do that. But again, back over on the homepage, this is a really great way to get right to the contact that did something that you need to address. And so that's going to be going to the recent OneHome visitors. We're going to open up that contact individually, and we're going to see all the detail here and some of the things that they did that prompted that alert. So first, in the details section, all the information that you provided about that contact. For most, probably it's going to be an email address and a name. But there is the ability over here to edit that record. So if you need to add something or want to change or add an email address or whatever, add them to a category, you can do that. So when you set up a contact, just know you can always get back to it and change it if you need to. At the bottom, notice under the details, we know now, and we knew before, but we can now see how much progress they made in their planner. We get to see their property fit preferences and the answers to all the questions that they created. We also get to see all the activities, including completing a step in the planner, adding favorites. We saw this happen, removing a favorite, adding a note, simply visiting their portal. We track all of that. And if the activity is linked to a property, there will always be a link on that particular activity to the property where that happens. So we can click here to quickly see the property that they added a note to at 10:31. And there it is. Gives me the date that was emailed to them, gives me their property fit score on that property, and again, allows me to review that note again, which again, we already read, so the asterisk was removed. Back over to our contact again. Now, you don't have any control of any of this property fit. You can't change the answers for them. They have to do that. You also can't complete any steps in the planner, but we will be able to see either on the buyer or the seller side how much they completed, and also a list of the items, and the ones with checks are the ones that they've completed within each of those sections. Otherwise, under your contact, all your auto emails that are running in the portal are here. Any ones that are red are inactive. And you can see as you hover over these, kind of some of their settings. There's an ASAP. Most of these are going to be ASAPs for me, for this client. I can open those up for more detail. I can actually see specifically for that auto email the sent emails to this client ongoing, and get access to properties that updated or new on that specific day that email went out. I show you this because it's really important in the portal, especially if you were using the old one, that all your activity and all your content and all your actions should happen in Matrix. So I want to talk a little bit about that real quickly. If some of you were using the portal prior to the OneHome portal, you had an option to view the portal as the client would see it. And so that doesn't exist currently. CoreLogic is working to create some kind of sample or a view for you to see the client side. But I'd like to kind of sell you on why Matrix is so important and talk about some of the things we've done to make it easier for you. They are working first to make it very mobile friendly. They're going to make it responsive. So it's going to be a little better than it is right now with some of our screens. So that is coming. What they've also done is they've extended the amount of time you can stay logged into Matrix. So once you log in once in the morning, you'll be logged in from there on out for the rest of the day. It's about an 8-hour window. So you should be able to stay logged in. And the reason for that is because when you get a BCC of an auto email or a email that you send to yourself, when you click on your BCC, it's going to direct you to Matrix. If you haven't logged in for the day, you will log in. If you have logged in, you will log directly in and be taken directly to the contact and to the content that is being addressed in that BCC. So it'll take you right to those updated listings. It'll take you right to those property fit preferences if that's where we need to go. It'll take us right to anything that's getting activity. They create a search. So any of those things you get BCCs on, you're going to be able to see through Matrix. So I encourage you to learn to work that way rather than looking at a client copy. And the reality is too, if you're looking at properties through an auto email. So here I am looking at this auto email for this client, and we're going to go look at the results. Remember, you have a lot more information than a client would have in Matrix. This is going to take you right to that full report you're used to with all those agent remarks, with all the information, the compensation, any special conditions, anything that that a consumer wouldn't know. And if you were looking at a BCC copy, you might not know either. So encouraging you to use the BCC as it was intended, linking you into Matrix to give you the content and the amount of information that you need to be that trusted professional and the one that has the best information from the best source, which is the MLS. So I'm going to pause for our final 15 here for any deeper digging questions for those that maybe have used the portal for a while, that may have questions beyond the basics. I would also encourage people that maybe this is your first view of it or you're new to think about looking at our class list and taking a OneHome portal class. It's a 1.5-hour format. So we dig a little deeper on the auto emails. And it sounds like you guys have some training materials locally as well. We also have a YouTube channel that has some really great material for those that are just starting out. But I do want to give the people that are using it some time to ask a little deeper digging questions. And I'll stop talking until someone does. No questions. Everybody still there to wake?
I'm sure they'll all have questions afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, come back next week. We'll have lots of questions.
Well, just know that if you do come up with a question, if you can find a staff member on the website, feel free to call us directly. We've got the help desk. You can call me. I'm there. You can find me, email me. We also will, for some of you, if this interests you, we'll schedule one-on-ones as long as you have kind of a focus, because we schedule half-hour windows, and we want to make sure we get as much as we can in that window. And so if you have something you specifically want to schedule some time with me or anybody on our staff, just let us know and we'll schedule it. Michelle, did you have anything that you were hoping that to glean that I didn't go over today?
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
That's okay.
So we have a Greensboro location also.
Uh-huh.
And so that's Triad MLS. Is this OneHome portal available in Triad as well, or is it just for Canopy?
I'm not sure if they have turned it on yet.
Okay.
I will say, and so, probably some of the people on the call were around when we first launched OneHome. We were the second market to get it. We reached out to the first market for we've done this over time because we've learned that sometimes we don't know everything until we get in. So we like to kind of lean on people that have already done it. They didn't really have any issues with it, but when we launched it, our members went crazy because of some of the things that were like the marketplace was there. That was the big thing. It was a big adjustment. So I think some markets decided to stick with the old version.
Okay.
So we've kind of become a great partner with CoreLogic to help them. They lean on us a lot now. They call us with any kind of change or tweak or improvement that they want to make with it, because they know that our members are going to be the ones that are vocal if it's not something they're happy with. So it definitely is a work in progress. The idea is to just make sure keeps that realtor in the center of the conversation.
Perfect.
So
I have a quick question.
yes.
I was just looking at one of my clients on the portal, and they have 29 favorites. They have to create the account to do any of those, like favorites and discarding and all that?
That's a great question. So was this a client that you set up have you been around for a while and had that client set up for a while?
Yes.
Pre-OneHome?
I'm sorry?
Pre-OneHome, like with the old portal?
No.
Okay. So that means that client has definitely signed in.
Okay.
And they have to do that to do that. Now, to that question, if there's anyone out there that had a client in the old portal that transitioned, and they transitioned pretty seamlessly, it just the look was different. If they had favorited, they would have to log in to be able to continue to favorite, but that will still keep those favorites logged for the realtor, even though they're not able to favorite in the new portal. So any new favorites, of course, couldn't happen without them logging in, but all the old ones did come over as favorites. So just want to be clear on that. So yeah, you're good as long as you set them up post OneHome conversion. That means that client has taken the extra step, which is great. I could also answer questions about something else. Michelle, did you have any other business that you wanted to?
No, I think just making the agents familiar with, this portal to be able to not only explain to their clients how to navigate it, but also being able to know what it looks like on their end and just becoming familiar with it as well, because I know not all the time that they'll use auto emails or something like that, but it really is beneficial to have everything in one place when they're logging into Matrix to be able to see what their clients are actually interested in.
Exactly. And so to that point, I would recommend anybody that hasn't had a chance to see the client perspective, make yourself a contact in Matrix and make sure that you're not using the same email address you use as an agent. So like another Gmail account or something, and actually deliver things to yourself and see what the client experience is like. That will help you help them better. Even if you don't have an exact copy of what they're looking at, you at least know the process and you know where the tools are that they can use.
Right.
Yep. All right. Was somebody going to ask? I thought I heard somebody.
Thanks for good.
Well, Michelle, well, thank you for reaching out. It's been a big transition for us here to do virtual, but we still want people to know that we used to visit offices, and now we can at least do it in some fashion, and we're glad to do it. And it's actually become a little bit, we've been a little more flexible because no drive times and back to backs. Where in the past, if I was Lake Norman and had to go to Lake Wiley, it was an hour drive.
Right.
Schedule accordingly, so I can jump from one to another, which is awesome. But we would love to see everybody physically. So I guess next month is Debbie Way, and she actually gave me her topic. I sent that to you, right, Michelle?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's the rules that you don't want to break or something like that, or the most common or whatever. Yeah.
And how to avoid it.
You're gonna love that. That's really good. And then she's also got another one that you could follow up with maybe at a later. That's about she gave me that one. I'd have to send it to you. But she's got another one that she does, and then we also have the syndication piece as well that we could. But we'll discuss what we're gonna do in the one after that.
Okay.
I think we got OneHome scheduled, and then beyond we'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks Wilson Realty, and look forward to seeing you guys. Yes.
Brian, thanks so much, buddy. I appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. No problem.
All right, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Are we done? I guess we're done. All right.